The New York Rangers have officially hit rock bottom with another loss to the league's worst team. They're now 2-8 in their last 10, and they are searching for answers. And we're going to see if we can find some answers on this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. You can hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And that's right, I believe the New York Rangers have officially hit rock bottom. They lost to the Chicago Blackhawks 2-1, and there were a ton of mistakes, a ton to pull from this game, all pretty much negative, and we're going to get into it. Not negative. There's one thing I'm going to talk about that was positive in this game, and I think you all know who it is, but this is from Arthur Staple of The Athletic, who's been covering the Rangers as of late. No fight, little effort, not much of anything. After a lifeless loss to the league's worst team, the New York Rangers have hit rock bottom. And from Justin Bourne, can't remember a team melting down like the Rangers have these past few weeks, just seemingly unprompted after a great start. It was a great start, but I think if you're a Rangers fan, you were watching all season, you know that the way that they were playing was unsustainable. So this might come as a surprise to some media members like, Justin Bourne, like Steve Dangle, maybe even Arthur Staple, maybe a couple others. This could come as a surprise where, oh my God, like they're blowing up something that, won the President's Trophy and went to the Eastern Conference Final. But from watching this team all season, we all know this was an unsustainable way to play. Like they started very hot. And yes, they were playing well at times, but some of the games were just Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick winning you the game. So the way they've been playing all season was never sustainable. They just they got off to a very hot start, but it has absolutely crumbled down since then. They've traded their captain, Jacob Trouba. It looks like more moves are on the way as well. We'll get to that later in the episode, but I think for all Rangers fans, I'm hoping that whatever they're doing here and whatever the plan is works, because they are in tough right now. We're going to get into some quotes as well, but this is the thing about the losses lately. The team isn't just losing. They're not competing. There's no effort there, right? Everything is bad. And now you have the goaltender Igor Shesterkin. I mentioned it a couple videos ago when he signed his extension. He's not playing well, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it has more to do with the defense and the team defense, that now he's second guessing a lot of plays, and he's making some mistakes that normally he wouldn't, but mentally he's not as sharp because he's like, pucks are coming from everywhere. These guys are making plays around my defense like I don't have a defense. So, he's really in tough right now. And I want to get into some quotes from last night. Now, one, obviously, bright spot for the New York Rangers is Will Cooley so far this year. He's been fantastic. I would argue that he's been their best player, whether it's defense, goaltending, offense, whatever you want. I would argue that this guy's been their best player all season. He's been their MVP. And he said after that loss, after that I thought we got outplayed, our execution was bad. He was talking about after the first 5 minutes of a game. A game is 60 minutes. You have to play all 60 minutes. You have to play hard. You have to play heavy. The Rangers have not been doing that, and they lost for that reason. He thought the execution was bad. We also have an interesting quote from Coach Peter Laviolette. The execution was off all night. Could be fatigue, could be mental, could be anything. Regardless, it's unacceptable. The first part of this quote to me is very interesting because it is his job to figure it out and why, and to correct it, right? So I understand, he's going to give that to the media after a game, and, they got to reevaluate what's going on today, but it is unacceptable. No Rangers fan, should be accepting what's going on right now. This is absolutely unbelievable. And he went on to say, we've got to be better than that. You're not going to win hockey games if you can't execute. We haven't talked about that much, which is insane to me again. But tonight, execution was clearly one with the puck. We couldn't make 5-foot passes or connect a 20-foot pass or coming out of the D-zone coverage or in the offensive zone. Just couldn't connect our plays. So clearly, all over the ice, they were not connecting last night. And I mean, you could see it, man. The eye test, it did not pass at all. It was really tough. That was a tough game to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks like that, the worst team in the NHL. You're not feeling great about that. This is from Artemi Panarin for sure. It was better when we were like last game, almost coming back and our fans supporting us. That's a nice feeling, but we've got to play better, and then we won't hear that anymore. And of course, he was talking about the boos that were coming out at the end of the game and throughout the game last night, because that was a tough watch. And you know what? He said here, the fans were supporting them at the end of last game because they were making a comeback. But my point here is, why are you having to make a comeback? This is a team that should be, crushing other teams, should be top in the league, right? Why are you having to come back from down 3 goals in games like that against a, middle of the pack Seattle Kraken team, right? That's the thing to me. It's like, yes, you want to have that fan support, but the fans will only support you if you're putting the effort in. So it's a two-way street in that way for me. And, Chris Kreider also went on to say after last night's game, because there was a lot of mistakes from a lot of, some of the players who are supposed to be your best players, like Keandre Miller, I thought was going to take a step this year. That has not happened. I don't think we can really point to extended periods of playing the right way. That comes from not executing, playing north fast, or breaking the puck out well, which they were not doing last night either. They're going to get ozone time. They're going to get riding time. They're going to get their looks. Not executing leads to turnovers, and then any team has got the skill. That team certainly has skill, and it comes right back at you. Now, Chicago is not a great team. They haven't been a great team all year. They've had trouble executing, and they were able to beat you 2-1. That is a real problem, if you're the New York Rangers. That is, last night, I mean, the loss to, Seattle, you could be like, tough luck in some areas. Jonathan Quick maybe not on his game for the first time this season. This is a game that you look at where you go, okay, something is not working here. And, I mean, I wanted to get into this as well, because Larry Brooks was actually on the newest episode of Spitting Chicklets, and I wanted to highlight this. I think a lot of criticism got to Zibanejad. He's very sensitive, way too sensitive to what other people are saying about him. It gets in his head, and he spirals and spirals and spirals. And now, again, listen, this is from Larry Brooks, so take it with a grain of salt. But you can see it sometimes in his play, and I wanted to highlight this one play specifically from last night where the Blackhawks score a goal. You got to get that hard around the boards there from Zibanejad. That is a terrible play. That is not an NHL caliber play. That is something you're going to get scored on 10 times out of 10. I mean, there is no pressure here. He has support from the defense coming back as well, and he just absolutely flubs it over to Taylor Hall, who's, probably going to make a good play there. And Bertuzzi, I mean, he's been in the NHL for a long time. He's probably not going to miss an empty net like that. And that is a tough play for a goaltender, having to slide laterally like that quickly to make that save. So I'm not going to blame Shesterkin on that. That is a tough play from Mika Zibanejad. He has not been great pretty much all season. And Larry Brooks went on to say they are not done making moves either. They're not good enough, and I think everyone knows it. That much, I mean, is so true. Like, at this point, I kept saying, they have Stanley Cup aspirations. Yes, coming into this season, yes, you thought that this team, okay, we're going to try and run it back. That's the ultimate goal. Watching the last couple games and their mental state, they're not good enough. They're going to need another piece. They might need another 2 pieces to really get rolling here. And big fish, not like, support players, depth players. They're going to need some real help. And they can do that. They have some salary cap space, but it's interesting. Chris Drury is clearly not done yet, but he wanted some things to settle down. But I'm not sure if anything's settling down, because their play, I mean, we can run it back here again. Their body language here getting off the ice is just a team that is defeated. This is terrible. Look at Chris Kreider there on the right of your screen. Like, absolutely defeated. That's tough to watch. Like, they are a team who has hit rock bottom right now. And the only thing with hitting rock bottom is there's no other place to go but up, right? So we'll see how the Rangers respond to this. It's very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think of everything that's happening with the New York Rangers right now. They traded away their captain last week. Zibanejad is on pace for 61 points this season. Awful. Trocheck is on pace for 52 points. Not great. Panarin is getting older. They've only won 2 in their last 10. And now they have dropped to 8th in the Eastern Conference after a pretty good start. But again, their play was not sustainable. I think we all knew, everyone watching the games knew that this may be coming, that they were not actually good enough. So it has been a very interesting season, and we'll see how they respond. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.